Before we jump into the Chicago Bears mailbag, my name is Harrison Graham. Win or lose, if you got the Bears back, or at least my back on this channel, like the video, hit the like button. Come on, let's get 1,000 likes today. I appreciate all the love and support. If you love the Bears, hopefully you like this video. Hit that like button. All right, let's kick this mailbag off. We got Miles saying, if Teven Jenkins stays healthy the rest of the season, should the Bears extend him this offseason? It's an interesting question, Miles. I've seen some articles talk about this. I'm sure it's been discussed, Chicago Sports Radio. Teven Jenkins is having a nice season. I mean, the PFF grades suggest so, above average across the board, although I think his grades should be higher, to be honest. He hadn't given up a sack. He's mauling people in the run game. I think those grades should be a tick higher, but he's been really good since he's come back from injury where he missed the first 4 games. He's been able to play in the last 6 games. And I do think if he can prove that he can play the rest of the season staying healthy, that would be 13 games in a row to finish this season without any health issues, then that would impress me. Now, we're a long way from that. He's played 6 in a row here. Can he do another 7? The most games he's played in the season is 13. The max he can play this year is 13. But you just think about the potential of this offensive line right now. Obviously, Nate Davis has been injured. The center position is still a problem, but Teven Jenkins and Darnell Wright are 2 cornerstones if healthy. Nate Davis is a solid guard. I like Braxton Jones at left tackle, so whether it's him, Joe Alt, or Olu Fashanu, I think you got a good option over there. Olu or Alt would probably be an upgrade from Jones, at least long term, but Braxton's been really good as well. You plug Nate Davis back at guard once he's healthy, for especially just thinking about next year, all you need is a center to at least have an above-average offensive line, potentially a top 10 group. I mean, this group could really come together, and Teven Jenkins is definitely a big part of that. So what do you guys think? Should the Bears extend Teven Jenkins after this season? Type E for extend him or W for wait, because he'll be under contract next year, so you can play it out, see if he can put together an even more healthy season. But maybe you get a discount on him because of that injury history. Maybe you build in certain benchmarks, incentives based on games played. I'll be curious to see how Ryan Poles approaches this. If you can get a somewhat team-friendly deal, I would be open to it because he's a really, really good football player. From Fortnite Man, I hope Fields is the guy. He's such an athlete. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, in a perfect world, Justin Fields plays unreal the rest of the season, and you don't have to draft a quarterback. You can draft Marvin Harrison. You can draft Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu. You can draft Leatu Latu. You can go in a lot of different directions, but we'll see. I think he's got to prove more. I think Ryan Poles needs to see more, if I'm being honest. Orlando D, what would it cost to keep Justin Fields in Chicago one more year, and would he agree to terms? He's under contract. Technically, you could have him for 2 more years. You have him under contract next year, and then the 5th-year option if you want to exercise it, which you'll have to decide this offseason. It'd be about $20 million for 2025, which is a lot, but it's not ungodly amount for a quarterback, especially if he ends up being good. So you've got team control still. Next year, I think his cap hits like $6 million, so nothing crazy, playing out his rookie deal. So yeah, Orlando, you're if you want to bring him back, there's nothing stopping the Bears from doing so. He's under contract. Dave O'Dowd, what are the odds we go with Marvin Harrison and Brock Bowers? Our offense would be top 10. I mean, yeah, you want to just, like, that would be like a Madden type of move where, like, you're just like, you know what? We're going to draft MHJ and Bowers. We're going to run 2 receiver, 2 tight end sets with DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Cole Kmet, and Brock Bowers, and we're just going to light people up. If you get an adequate center, I'm open to the idea. Now, at some point, you got to add a defensive tackle, maybe do that in free agency. I'm not opposed to it, Dave. If you think Braxton Jones is the guy at left tackle, and if you think Justin Fields, with that amount of talent, can at least be an above-average quarterback, if nothing else, then yeah, I mean that's fun to think about. That's a bit of a YOLO move, but I'm not completely against it, Dave. And Brock Bowers is such a good blocker that he's almost an extra offensive lineman in the run game as well. So I am a fan of this idea. It wouldn't be the top scenario, but I'm certainly open to it. All right, guys, today's show is sponsored by Rocket Money. Did you know that 80% of people have subscriptions that they have forgotten about? Seriously, it's too easy to subscribe to a free trial of something and then completely forget about it once you stop using it and then Guess what? That's when the monthly charges start rolling in. That's why I'm a big fan of Rocket Money, a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money can negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money will take care of the rest. They also let you monitor all of your expenses in one place, recommend custom budgets for you based on your past spending. They'll even send you notifications when you've reached your spending limits. Think about that. Set your budgets. They'll send you notifications. Hey, you're almost there. And you can really stay on top of your spending. It's something my wife and I have had to do now that we have a 7-month-old at home in daycare, which costs a lot of money. You know, his expenses are adding up. It's the holidays, Christmas shopping, all that stuff. So you really got to be careful on your other bills on a monthly basis, decide what's worth spending on. And rocketmoney.com/bearsnow is going to help you save that money. Get started with Rocket Money today. It's rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. Check the comments. Check the description. It is Rocket Money. Appreciate you guys for checking out Rocket Money today. From Sealand with the 20. What's up, Sealand? Appreciate you tuning in. Any legitimate free agent quarterbacks next year you see working in Chicago? So we took a look at some 2024 free agents, Sealand. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But some of the names that were on there, Kirk Cousins, a free agent, coming off a torn Achilles, going to be 35 years old. I don't see him as a realistic option, to be honest, but I guess you never know. Other names are like Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, you're talking about guys like that. You know what's an interesting one? If you want like a stopgap option now, let me double check that he's a free agent. I didn't mention him at the time. Josh Dobbs might be a free agent here. With what he's doing, it's pretty interesting. Now, he's not a long-term answer. At least I don't think so. This would be quite a story if this all turned into him being a long-term answer somewhere. But if you want like a stopgap guy, those are some names we're talking about, which is why, to me, it's either Fields or the draft. Like, unless you think Kirk Cousins can be a high-level starter for 3 or 4 years, but I don't know. I'm lukewarm on that idea. Nixon Panfil, cheers. Here are my draft options. Trade Justin Fields, draft Caleb, and a left tackle. Number 2, keep Justin Fields, draft Marvin Harrison, and a left tackle or a defensive tackle. Newton. Not sure who Newton is. Number 3, keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison Jr., left tackle and defensive tackle Newton. Who is Newton, Nixon? Help me out. Producer Jack's looking. And draft Bo Nix. Without knowing who Newton is, I feel like I'm just Jerjon Newton. I don't know who we're talking about here, Nixon. But I don't think there's a defensive tackle that's going to go top 10 based on the early draft research I've been doing. So, plays for Illinois. Okay. If that's who you're talking about, I'm not sure. But based on this, I think the ideal scenario is number 2, where you draft Fields and then you either add a left tackle or BPA, whatever. More realistic scenario is probably 1 where you trade Fields, draft a quarterback, not necessarily Caleb, could be Drake, and a left tackle or Marvin Harrison, something like that. So there you go. Alan Melendez, if you think about it, the results of our first top 2 picks, Jerjon Newton, I think that's who you're talking about. I'm not sure where he's going to go in the draft, so it's hard to answer that. But if you think about the results of our first 2 picks, Alan asks, will largely depend on how well Justin and Braxton perform the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, look, I think those are 2 players to really watch. I think Braxton Jones in the 2 games since he's come back, 2.5, whatever, he's been good. He looks good. You know, he's not a perfect player, but he's really mobile. He moves well. I think his fundamentals have improved. You know, that anchor is still not top tier, but it's better this year. I think he's gotten stronger. I think he's adequate. Like, I don't think you have to force the issue at left tackle. Now, if you're Ryan Poles and you think Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu is a generational player, like, you know, plug and play, 10-year starter, Pro Bowls, maybe some All-Pros, then, yeah, that's hard to turn down. And then, you know, you have maybe the best swing tackle in the NFL in Braxton Jones. But if you feel good about him moving forward, then you can go in a different direction. You can draft a different player. So you got options depending on how Jones and obviously Fields play the rest of the season. Subscribe to the channel daily. Chicago Bears news, rumors, mailbags like this one if you join us live. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to have you covered all the time here on Chicago Bears Now. Arc Invasion, keep Justin Fields till Arch Manning goes in the draft. Can we watch Arch Manning play a single down of college football? He hasn't even played a game of college football yet. I'm sure he's going to be a good player. I'm sure he's going to be talented. I know he's talented, but we got to watch him play. And by the way, he's not draft eligible until 2026. So you're saying keep Justin Fields for 2 more years, no matter what? I like Justin Fields, but you can't just blindly say, yeah, we're going to pick up his 5th-year option, and no matter what the results are, he is starting the next 2 years. That's not going to happen. Tim Griffin, how many players on offense do you see being cut at the end of the year? I mean, Cody Whitehair is the obvious answer. Lucas Patrick's already a free agent after this year, so you don't have to cut him. But I think Cody Whitehair, in terms of cut, Darnell Mooney's a free agent, so you got to make a decision on him. I don't know who else you'd potentially cut. I don't think you're going to cut Khalil Herbert. I think you're going to cut Kari Blasingame. I think he signed a 2-year deal. So it's Whitehair. Whitehair's the cut candidate. There's no doubt. Who is your favorite Bear of all time? Number 1 favorite Bear. Mine is Devin Hester. I can't say Walter Payton because I never watched him play. In terms of who I enjoyed watching the most, I would say Devin Hester. Now, who the best Bear is, that's a different answer. But my favorite Bear of all time is Devin Hester. So let me know who your favorite Bear is. I'm seeing some Urlachers in there. I'm seeing Thomas Jones, Sweetness, Devin Hester, Walter Payton, Urlacher. All good answers. Let us know who your favorite Bear is. From X, hot take, but we will have a top 10 O-line next year. If you get an adequate center, I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, I think Darnell Wright is already a fringe top 10 right tackle, if not higher. I think Teven Jenkins is a top 10 guard in this league when healthy. I really do. And, I think Braxton Jones is above average at left tackle. And I think Nate Davis is at least an average guard when healthy. So if you get an adequate center in there, I don't think you're going to have a top 3 O-line, but top 10, I think that's possible. I do think it's possible. I don't think you're that far away on the offensive line. It's just center and left guard recently with Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair when Nate Davis hurt. It's been that bad. It's been hard to watch. All right, last word here from DC Viper. What kind of haul could you see this year for the first pick if the Bears get it again? And could it be larger than the DJ Moore trade? It's hard to say, DC. The only difference that I would point out is I highly doubt Ryan Poles would trade down as far as he did this time. Remember last year, he traded down all the way from 1 to 9. So that was part of the reason why you got a player of the caliber of DJ Moore. It's like, I'm just going to throw something out there. Let's say the Bears get the first pick from Carolina and their own pick is 6. You have 1 and 6. Right now they have 1 and 5. Let's say it's 1 and 6. I don't want to trade further down than 3. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not open for business for teams lower than 3, but you're really going to have to convince me. And the reason for that is I want to have the option to either take one of the quarterbacks or Marvin Harrison Jr. if I'm Ryan Poles. Even if I come to the conclusion that I'm keeping Justin Fields, I still want to pick in the top 3. I want Marvin Harrison to be there. Now, in theory, Marvin Harrison could go top 2, but if that happens in a scenario where you trade down to 3, let's say a team trades up, takes Caleb Williams 1, the team selecting 2 takes Marvin Harrison over the other quarterback, and you're sitting there at 3, well then on the day of the draft, you could trade down again in that scenario because a team will come calling and draft Drake May. So I don't want to trade down further than 3, at least pre-draft night, because I want that scenario in play where on draft night, one of the quarterbacks or Marvin Harrison Jr. is 100% guaranteed to be there when I make my selection. Be sure to follow me on Twitter where we can continue the conversation and on Instagram at HGramNFL. I've got some DMs to catch up on, had a wedding to go to, batch party the weekend before, so I'm a little behind, but I'll get after it and hit you guys back at HGramNFL. Appreciate the love and support both here on the channel and on social media. Love you guys. Bear down.